Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Sorry I'm 10 minutes late, but I really appreciate everyone who waited and everyone who is here tonight and ready to listen to this interview again. 3 years ago today, CBI and
Chris, do you remember us?
Okay, so 3 years ago today, CBI, FBI, and the detective from Frederick, Colorado, visited Wisconsin prison and met with Chris Watts. And this was not a planned visit. Chris had no idea that they were about to come see him. Hi, everyone in chat. Hi, Alex and Kezchik, Paul, Derek, Vicky. Thank you guys for being here. We're just going to take a little trip down memory lane and re-listen to this interview 3 years later on the anniversary mark. And I just think that it's very significant how, after somebody signed the plea deal and goes away to federal prison, you think that they wouldn't have to ever meet with authorities and talk about their crime or anything like that again. But here we are in this unusual case. We didn't get the trial that we the public probably should have gotten. And the victims too, because I just feel like we've never been close to getting any bit of the truth from Chris down the avenues that they've taken him so far. With the polygraph and everything else, it's just been one false confession after the other. And while I want to make it clear, I do believe that Chris Watts is where he needs to be, and I have no problem with him spending the rest of his life in prison. I do think that there are other people who had involvement in this crime and who should be held accountable. And in a lot of cases, these things happen where, they get the conviction that they want and then that the case is closed. And I think that that's what ended up taking place here. And while the DA and the Colorado state got the conviction they wanted, and the victims' families might feel like it's just, I just feel like, and I know that there's thousands of others who feel like we weren't told the truth and that there's a lot of unanswered questions in this case. Hi, Brooke Richards. Thanks for being here. And Nicole. Yeah, I know, Paul. It's like, I don't know the whole reasoning why, the plea deal was pushed so aggressively, but I really think that it did a disservice to this case and the victims. And honestly, I think that the family also has been kind of dragged through the mud, Chris's family and Shanann's family, just because of the fact that, we didn't get all the questions answered, and there's a lot of rooms for speculation and a lot of room for different theories because the physical evidence in this case was never processed, and we don't have 100% of the information. There is no transparency in this case, even though they have handed over countless hours of body cam footage and interviews and thousands of pages of the discovery files. It's just a lot of things that really do matter, like DNA processing and the Vivint records for their home security system and Chris's cell phone records. A lot of that is the physical evidence that we just don't have. And without that physical evidence, I can't say 100% for sure that we've been told the truth on this case. And that's just where I stand. So, hi, Seth. Thanks for being here. And Kelly searches equals answers. Thank you for being here. So I guess, this is 4 hours and 40 minutes long. And I don't expect us to get through all of this tonight, but we'll start it tonight. And CDT is supposed to be joining me when she can. I believe she is at her son's soccer game right now, but I told her that we would just listen and she can join whenever. And Alex, I just want to read her comment. And yeah, I'll pause it and add, my comments as we listen and your guys's as well, and we can kind of talk through this. She said, why would they even care to hear what he has to say after it's closed? And they were so quick to close, unless they had questions themselves, which we know they did, their tone about NK. Yeah. And of course, we have Dr. Phil, who's spoke with the family. Hi, T Spirit Spiracy. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you. We have the family, Shanann's family, who went on Dr. Phil, who spoke with Dr. Phil very soon after everything kind of wrapped up. And Dr. Phil did a podcast on this crime. And in one of his episodes, he alluded to the fact that Shanann's family had thought that, once they went to Wisconsin, I'm sorry, to speak with Chris, they assumed and they had hoped that he was going to roll on the mistress. So take that for what you will, but that is what Dr. Phil said. Hi, Punksy. Okay. So we'll just get into this. And like I said, I will pause it and comment and we can just talk through this. And, it's just going to be interesting to re-listen to this after so long.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I see it. I just took a moment there. Good to see you.
Different.
They get the haircut every 2 months.
So right off the bat, I'm sorry, right already, it's just kind of interesting. Tammy, do you remember us? And she's like, wow, you look different. He's only been in the system for a few months at this point. This is obviously February. He was sentenced early November, mid-November-ish. But I don't know. It's interesting. Just imagine what he's thinking to having to see, Tammy and them again. I feel like, he even said through sources that he wasn't happy to see them there.
Just buzz pretty much everything off and all that. So.
I'm trying to think, did you have a
yes,
last time? Okay.
They have like a little single blade razor, so I just kind of, go past the stubble. You just kind of
Just do the best you can, huh?
you just gotta go with that.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you guys?
Good. Good.
I did not expect to see this. That's for sure.
Surprised.
Yes.
Well, let me put some fears aside.
Yeah, Derek, I agree. I am not a Tammy fan. I do not think that her tactic worked in getting the truth. I believe her tactic worked in getting a false confession from Chris, which led to his conviction. So that is with, as far as, Tammy's skills went, she got a confession, the state got the conviction, but that confession was false because the initial confession was he killed Shanann because she killed the girls. And that theory was given to him by Tammy. And yes, T-Spiracy, we adjusted the audio and enhanced it.
We're not here for what you might think we might be here for.
Well, they didn't know what that's a computer room. I was like, I didn't know we had a computer room.
We have computers.
Exactly.
So you remember, I talked to you, Tammy talked to you, Dave talked to you. We're all in Colorado. And so the last time we talked to you, it's a different situation, right? Our investigation was open and your case was open.
And I just wanted to say again, hi, Broken Dishes. He just said, Tammy talked to you, I talked to you, and Baumhover talked to you, and we're all Colorado. And I think that that's significant because I just want to reiterate how much, studying this case, I feel Colorado is very corrupt. And there's no surprise that, they could all be working together to kind of keep under wraps what really went on.
That's completely different now. So your case is completely closed. Nothing about what we're going to talk about today has anything to do with an open investigation. So we're not here to get more charges on you or get any statements from you that are going to jam you up anymore, right? That's all done. So all of our cases are closed and the court case is closed. So there's nothing that we're going to talk about today that's going to get you in any type of more trouble at all.
So of course, which should be obvious, but it's good that he's kind of spelling it out for Chris. Nothing you say today is going to get you in any more trouble, which is sort of stupid in a sense because he's been sentenced to multiple life sentencing. So he should kind of know, like, okay, obviously I'm not going to be buried even more for this. But the problem is also, I feel, is he's saying you're not going to get in any trouble. So it's almost like, then why would Chris feel the need to, like, it's not like they're saying, you might get in less trouble. It's not really like enticing to him to tell the truth at this point. Like, yeah, he's letting them know you're not going to get more charges added on. But like we said, he's already got 105 years and 3 life sentences. And it's just kind of like, I wish that there was another way that they could have kind of started this conversation. Like maybe even if they had to kind of lie to him to let him know, like, if you turn things around and tell us some information that's valuable, we can see what we could do. Like, not tell him like we might be able to lessen your time, but they can lie to him. Like they lied to him when they said, we're not going to show anyone your picture. Remember when they took his picture and Tammy said, don't worry, we're not going to show anyone this. And then they put it out on for the public. So it's not like they couldn't lie to him at this point, and he has a lot less rights being a prisoner anyways. So I just wish that there could have been another way that they could have opened this discussion and, maybe let him think like, hey, if you give us some stuff that might be helpful or, this or that, maybe we could do something. But obviously it's just wishful thinking.
And so I wanted to make sure you knew that's not why we're here. Okay. But why we are here. So the 3 of us work from 3 different agencies, right? Quite a bit different. CBI, FBI, and Frederick PD. Different goals. And the things that happened with you kind of all brought us together. And
I also don't understand what he was just saying at that point too. Like, 3 of us work separately, CBI, FBI, and local. Different goals. Why do they have different goals? Like, I'm sure he could have elaborated and maybe it's not, maybe I'm overthinking it, but shouldn't be, the goal for local PD, state PD, and federal all be, truth and justice and justice for the victims. And, it just was like kind of strange how he's like, different goals. And I think that it's also important that we need to keep in mind, Baumhover, the detective, is outranked by Tammy and Coder. So, when it comes to who can do what, I always think in my head, well, Baumhover really has probably the weakest say in anything that goes on. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Keep in mind. Thank you, Seth. Seth says, thanks for always sharing the facts, Amber. I try. I want us, to obviously think outside the box when we're listening to this, because I think it's important to remember, we probably weren't told the truth on this case. So I will stick to the facts, but I do want you guys to be open-minded to when I do kind of give my opinion and theorize and speculate and all that. And you guys are very supportive and understanding and understand how my brain works. So I appreciate it. He looks like the crazy uncle you don't invite over in this picture. Yeah, he's ruined at this point.
And as the months have passed on since everything happened, we just keep in touch with each other and we keep talking to each other. And we
Thank you, Punksy. Appreciate that super sticker. And I like your little picture. How cute. So he just said, we all keep in touch with each other. So at this point, Coder is saying, you know, since he's been put away, himself, Tammy, and Baumhover have kind of been in touch with each other. And I can only imagine what type of conversations those were. I really would love to be, you know, the fly on the wall, but AD still talking about this case, I'm sure. Cooter Brown, I'm sure.
all separately kind of said, did Chris seem unique to you? You know, me and Tammy have talked about this, Dave and I have talked about this. Did Chris's situation seem different to you? And we keep having that conversation. We can't quite put our finger on it, right? We think that your life leading up to all of the things that happened were very interesting to us. And for me personally, I don't know if you remember, but one of the last things you told me was, hey, Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you. And that stuck with me for the last couple months.
So apparently he's saying at one point, Chris said to him, hey, Graham, I'm sorry for lying. So here we have Chris, who lies to everybody, walking enigma, and he's over here apologizing to the FBI agent for lying. It's just like unbelievable, this guy. But he never apologizes to Tammy.
Ringing in my head, right? I've never ever worked a case like this where someone told me that ever. You know, and so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique. You know, and so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard. So in talking with Tammy and talking with Dave, I said, you know, what did you feel like when it all went down? When we were there, when we were talking to you guys, and we all kind of, in our own different way and in our own different wording, said it all happened a bit too quick for us, right? So when we saw you last, we were talking and talking and talking about your family, about your parents, about everyone. And then the next thing you know, for me and Tammy and for Dave, all of a sudden some patrol officers came in and arrested you. And that was far quicker than we had hoped it would happen. And you understand why that happened, and we understand why that happened.
So I just wanted to say thank you to Shannon Donahue. Thanks for being here. And thank you for that. And just looking at chat, wanted to thank you all for being here. And Ross Illusion, thank you for being here. Thank you, Jackie, so much. Thanks for that super sticker. It's really kind of surreal listening to this whole story all over again. And we're starting to go back from the beginning on CDT's channel, and we'll go through the prison interview here. And yeah, we're just going to keep talking about the case and the victims, and yeah, just keep researching.
But it left us with 1,000 questions that we didn't get to ask.
So right here, he even says it left us with 1,000 questions. And even though they ask a lot of the questions in this interview, I don't know about you guys, but I just don't really believe much of it.
And then even more importantly, I think it probably left you with 1,000 things that you didn't get to talk about with us. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but, and so that's why we're here today. We wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about everything, you know. I think there's a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about. And so, you know, that's why we're here. And it sticks with me that to this day, there's not one person that's told me, I saw it coming. I knew Chris was like that. I knew it. Not one person. So it's just, it's interesting to me, right? Not one. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Some of the people that we work with, your family, Shanann's family, have said, if you get to talk to Chris, would you tell him some things for me? So we have that to talk about today, and it's good. I think you'll like it. I think it will give you some closure. And so really that's why we're here. Are you available to talk to us?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So off the bat, if you have any questions.
I just think it's interesting that they make it seem like we just had to get closure and some answers where it's like he just went to prison. If that was the sole purpose of them going there, then you would think that they would wait until he's sort of, processed things and settled in. And if something traumatic occurred or whatever happened, maybe down the line his memory would be better or this or that. But they jump on going to see him right away. And I mean, unless you guys can find me another example where they've done something like this for a closed case with a plea deal, I'd be interested in seeing that example. Hi, Nikki Rex.
Questions, just tell us.
Okay.
If there's something that you don't want to talk about, that's okay. We might press you a little bit. Okay, we might say, well, do you mind if we just maybe then ask one question? Something makes you uncomfortable, just tell us. If we need to take any bathroom breaks, we can take bathroom breaks. For anything like that. And we'll take bathroom breaks and water breaks ourselves too. So then, is there anything about your schedule today that makes it that you can't talk to us?
No, there was like a pass for this in the AM and the PM.
Okay.
They reserve the room the whole day,
Oh,
just in
okay.
case.
That's just what they do.
Okay, I didn't know if that was like two separate things or something.
I think you have to go back for lunch to get counted for or something.
Oh.
Accounted for.
Yeah, I think
11:30.
Lunch is like 11, but they count for like 12:15.
So in general, how is it here?
It's a lot different in Colorado.
Is it?
It's
Good or bad?
It's better, I think. Because it's here. I'm actually around other people. In Colorado, it was just like I was segregated, and it was like, pounding on the walls all night, screaming, and just just telling me
From other people?
Oh,
Really?
they're just telling me like how I should kill myself and like what they're gonna do to me, and just like all that kind of stuff. So it was today. This is a lot different because people here don't seem to. It's not like they don't care, but it's just kind of like they don't like judge you as soon as you walk in. Colorado was like they knew why I was there, and that was it. They were just like they had 1 second alone with me, it would have been
Really?
yeah.
Gee, man. Must be out then.
I don't like what kind of jail. I don't know what it was like in DOC there.
Seth asked if Tammy is still employed. I would love to know more details. I've heard that she retired or something, but it's just a rumor. And I know that I think in 2019, her and Coder were doing seminars about law enforcement and stuff like that. But I really don't know what she's up to, but I don't know. I feel like she's probably laying low.
But they had to lock down the jail for me to walk down the hallway.
Wow. So, yeah, well, so then make sure you were completely separated from anyone else. Jeez.
Wow.
Like I didn't see anybody else there. Like I was next to somebody, but like I never saw them.
You just hear them.
How did they know who you were?
I don't know. I just they make phone calls in there too.
Oh, okay.
And they got the newspaper in there before I got in there. So
Yeah. How is have you been able to talk with family members?
oh yeah, definitely. Like we get from 6 p.m. to 7.
I think it's interesting also. Okay, so we've combed through this case a long time, and a lot of it over on CDT's channel. And Coder was asking how, inmates knew about him and this and that. And come to find out through our research, we see that there was a leak from law enforcement to the media. Because the night he was arrested, and then the next day, it came out in the media that he confessed to killing his family, when that wasn't even the confession that took place. Again, that confession, the initial one, was he murdered Shanann because she murdered the girls. And then all of a sudden it started going around, the other story. And it was from law enforcement because they were the only ones who knew. And by the time the article came out, there was no other way that would have came from anyone else but somebody in law enforcement. So the media was putting out a narrative that was just not true. And so it's funny, and I'm sure they know that there was a leak or something, because he's over here asking how did they know, who he was and this and that in jail. And it's because there was a leak.
7:30 after my unit's time out, so we get used to going at that point in time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And do they charge you for it? Or?
Oh, it's just like it's like Securus or something.
Okay. And how do you make money to pay for that?
They put money on the phone.
Oh.
So if I call, if I was to dial somebody's number, they have to have a phone account set up.
Oh,
It's such restricted.
And then so who you call pays for it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You've been able to talk to family members and parents and all
Yeah,
that?
my mom and dad, my sister.
Okay, good. Is that a good thing?
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah, they don't hear from me. They're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" What's wrong?"
Oh, good. And how is it with them?
And so far, so good.
Yeah. It was hard to hear your parents at sentencing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And so, yeah, I really appreciated what they said. I don't know about you.
I definitely it was. I didn't expect them to be there. I knew they were there on the 6th. November 6th, but I didn't expect them to fly back, and they wanted to fly back for that. So.
Yeah. And then a lot what your mom said.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay. Good. Well, so we have 1,000 questions. I'm sure you do too. Do you care if we start, or do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we're battling with is, and I won't make any assumptions today. So, are you aware that this was a national story?
After a little while, I didn't talk to my parents while I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Because my attorney team told me, all right, no phone calls, no letters, no nothing.
Okay.
So I made one phone call when I was in the segregation area there, but my dad thought it was somebody a news, somebody trying to call.
So he didn't answer?
Yeah, so he didn't answer. But other than that,
Okay.
I didn't talk to anybody. But from what some of the deputies were saying, that or my attorney team coming in and said, this is they've got people from Australia, England, and all kinds of people trying to figure out what's going on. So.
Did they send you any of the letters, like fan mail or anything? Well,
I got letters, but I couldn't keep them with me, so I could read them on my hour out. But it's I got a bunch of just letters that had no return address and stuff that was just not very good letters.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. They came from a weird perspective, didn't they? From what we had heard.
Definitely, there was one person, I guess, from Broomfield that was writing 4 times a week trying to come visit me, and then there was just a lot of people writing out lead through markers saying you're a monster, all kinds of crazy stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some hard issues today, but I don't intend to take you to a dark place today.
Okay.
I hope that when we're done, you'll feel better. I hope it'll be therapeutic. We're going to talk about, obviously, what happened with your family. And so that's going to be hard to talk about. I appreciate anything you can tell me about it. If you need to take time out, if you need to get a tissue, that's fine, right? I think it'll be very good for you. It'll be good for us. And so one of the reasons I asked about that national attention is we were aware that you were getting a lot of letters, a lot of interest, and then us personally as law enforcement, we got so many people who claim to have known you, claim to have been with you, dated you, slept with you, and 99 times out of 100, they were just crazy people, right? And so maybe that's a good place to start. Had you heard about any of that?
John Walsh, told me about some dude from Wyoming.
Yeah.
Trent?
Yeah, that guy, that blew my mind. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
And who told you about that?
Attorney John Walsh.
Oh, okay.
And remember, those who know this case and who know the channel Unmasked, it was uncovered through web sleuths and just good armchair detective work that Trent Bolt had ties to NK. They had social media friends that were in common, and pretty much it was, it seems as though Trent was put there by NK.
Do you mind if we talk about him?
Graham and I interviewed him.
You had to?
Yes.
Waste of our lives.
Yes.
So Trent, in summary, Trent came in and said,
And also, I think it's interesting, they wasted so much time with Trent Bolt, but they won't give David Carter the time of day to give him a polygraph to see if he was telling the truth. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, it was somebody who, long story short, somebody who was in prison with Chris, called FBI and CBI within the last year and said, Chris told me that he didn't kill the children, that NK, his mistress, did. And he recorded all the phone calls. And apparently Tammy offered, we heard the phone calls too, and they are legitimate. Tammy offered to give him a polygraph to see if he was telling the truth. And David said, yeah, I have no problem doing that. So Tammy said, okay, we'll be in contact. David Carter goes on YouTube and it talks about these phone calls. And next thing you know, Tammy cancels it because she doesn't find it legitimate. But here they are over here. And, this huge case, huge profile, high profile case is going on, and they're wasting time with Trent Bolt. But, it's just like, to me, it would be worth talking to David Carter to see if he was telling the truth or not. And he has no problem doing that. It would be way more worth their time than it was for them to talk to Trent.
met you online on a dating app, had a few, casual but quick sexual encounters with you. And let me be very clear. Not only are we not here to jam you up today, we're also not here to judge you. And if there is anything like that, you can imagine we've heard way worse, way different, So if it's true, I hope that you can just casually say, yeah, this happened. It wasn't as bad as he said, but maybe this happened. So his story was met online, met you, and it was a time when you were experimenting with maybe men. And so he said he met a couple times, met his friends, went to an apartment, had a couple of meetings in a parking lot, and then that was basically it. Is any of that sound familiar? Okay.
No, I've never met the guy.
Okay. All right.
And he talked about being in your truck with your girls, like the whole 9 yards. So.
Okay. All right.
I've never even been to Wyoming, let alone driven up there to see somebody.
Yeah. And so this is maybe a weird question for you. And do you have any gay experience?
No.
Okay. Any interest?
No.
Okay. Ever had a time experimented, wondered?
No.
Okay. Is it possible that he found you instead of you finding him?
From what John told me, just found me on like a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I don't even have that app.
Okay.
You had my phone, so
Okay.
you could probably saw what app I had. But I've never even heard of the app. But apparently, he told me
So Chris just said, I think you probably saw, you could have pretty much, he's saying, I don't have that app, like the dating one with Trent. And he's saying, I think you pretty much saw what apps I had. So he's saying, I gave you my phone. And he says it again later in this interview that he didn't delete text messages to help them out. So he's laying it all out there. And that phone that he has answers in it. And that phone that is being held onto by the district attorney has, vital information and evidence, and they're keeping it, even though they say in this interview too that they'll be handing his phone back to his family.
I don't do a rehab center or something.
Is that what he said?
No, that was another guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally. I no idea.
So did you see a picture of him on the news or anything?
John showed me a picture of him.
Okay.
He was like, well, this guy. I'm like, John was kind of, making fun of, you don't know him? Sure. I'm like, no.
So you saw it and you were like, no way.
Yeah, I was just
Big
like-
lips. Did you see his giant
Yeah,
lips?
it's just like, I have no clue what this guy is.
And he's somewhat memorable. I mean,
Yeah.
If you met him or talked to him or got to know him, you might remember. He was kind of meek,
Yeah.
but also a little bit flamboyant. Yeah, he did fake lip, or not fake lips, but injections. He was very into skincare and makeup. And he mentioned that one of the times, just as a gift, you got him some skincare products. Does any of that sound familiar?
No.
Okay. You can imagine all the stuff we're dealing with. Okay, so that's one. Trent Bolds. There was another gal that you were dealing with.
Amanda McMahon. Have you ever heard that name? No.
John showed me a picture of her.
Okay.
Oh, you did see a picture of her too?
Yeah, he had like,
Now take note how long we've talked about Trent for and this Amanda Tinder girl for. And, just think about the time spent talking about these people who are clearly insignificant. And then we'll compare it to how long they spend talking about NK the mistress.
that's the same.
Does
It's,
that look familiar?
that's the same picture he showed me on the
Okay.
Edmund Sullivan. I was looking, I was like, who's that? He's like, oh, you don't know her either?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
He said it was like a Chick-fil-A parking lot rendezvous or something.
Right.
And that's just not true.
That's what she's claiming.
Okay.
Only went to one Chick-fil-A in Colorado. That was the one in Broomfield, Highway 7.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable enough today to tell us if there were other people?
Yeah, it was just Nicole. That's it.
And that was it.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
it.
As these people have come,
Sometimes when Chris is telling the truth. It's hard to explain. He lies a lot, but I think he's telling the truth when he said it was just Nicole. Can you guys put a 1 in chat if you think NK was his only affair, and then if you think that he cheated on Shanann with other people, put 2. But for some reason, the way he said it, and he was like, are you comfortable with telling us if there was anyone else? And he said, yeah, it was just Nicole. Like, I just feel like for some reason, I just get vibes that was telling the truth. Is my volume okay for everybody else?
out, for the most part, we've not given their stories much credit. They're just crazy people who want attention. And so, but when that does happen, it does make us think, there may have been others. And so Nicole was the only one.
That was the only one.
Was there ever like a one-night stand with someone else just out of the blue and one and done?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you mind if we talk a little bit more about Nicole? Okay, so walk me through it, because that was one of the things we never really got to ask you about.
Right. We didn't
Just
talk.
kind of skipped on and talked about where the girls were. But so what happened there?
So it was probably around June 1st or something. That's when I first met her. And it was just like a work conversation. She messed with the gas meters that, we were out in the field. And I was messing up, and then, I took it.
Also, so he says he started talking to NK June 1st. In my opinion, I think that it was before June 1st. If you guys think their affair started before June 1st, press 1. If you think their affair started at when Chris says June 1st and after, press 2.
They were like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, how do I fix it? And, after that, we just ran into each other a few times in the office. And I think it was probably the 4th time meeting. She had asked me, because like when we were talking back and forth, I would say, like we moved here from Colorado or from North Carolina and stuff like that. And then,
Yeah, Kezchik says 2017 in her opinion. I think so too. I think things escalated when Shanann left, but I think that they knew each other somehow, and I haven't been able to kind of narrow it down. There's been all different types of theories. The gym, there's been a theory that they trained at some oil place together, like job training or something. There's just been like a lot of theories. Thrive was a theory that they met through Thrive. But, the things that we can kind of count on is some of the forensics that came from, which there was very little, that came from NK's phone. And it did show, as everybody knows, the 2017 search that she did of the family. And it started with Chris in August 2017. So, it was shown through her data that she looked up Chris first. And then in September 2017, she looked up Shanann. So if they started talking and stuff in June, like he's saying at work, it doesn't make any sense. Like, unless we're to assume that she knew of him and he didn't know of her, which I don't think is possible. I think that he knew her in 2017. She cyber stalked the family, and I think that we should call it what it is. She cyber stalked the family. Yes, NK was stalking online for sure. Yeah, you cannot deny it. Yeah, BLN. I kind of thought that when he said June 1st. And if anyone knows Chris, he's very literal. And it's to a fault at times. When he just said June 1st, he didn't give the date, and it makes me wonder, was it June 1st, 2017? So, yeah, she knew exactly what she was doing. I agree. And we don't have the answer to why and how she knew exactly what she was doing and why she was stalking them. And that is forever going to drive me crazy. And other people turn a blind eye to it. And whether you think he acted alone or not in this crime, I urge and I challenge people who can, just explain to me why they think before she was even working with Chris, before they even passed away, a whole year before the family passed away, she's looking them up.
She's like, "What's all this weed stuff?" I'm like, "God," took out my phone and showed her a picture, like, my girl's on the phone. It's like, "Oh, okay." Like, so I'm like, "Yeah," but, I didn't wear a ring to work because I sent it off so I get refitted when I lost all that weight. So, but
You lost so much weight that your fingers lost weight?
yeah, it was literally like I was out in the snow one time. I went like that, and my ring went off on the rocks. So I was just like, I was panicking, trying to find out that I can't wear this anymore. But so after that, she left me alone for a couple of days, and she texted me outside the field. And then after that, we just kept texting back and forth, and it was just, just like she used to work in a little rig out in North Dakota, I think. And we just kind of trading stories back and forth about what we did and everything. And then one day it just kind of went to a different level, and then I never thought I would ever go to that level. But she was talking about meeting up after we got back from San Diego. Yeah, we go to San Diego from the 22nd to the 26th of June, and we met up after we got back, and
How did you guys meet up?
at a park in Thornton. Thornton somewhere. And after that, we just kept seeing each other pretty much the whole month of July.
So let me ask you this. You tell me if I'm wrong. You strike me as somewhat of a shy person. So when you guys were meeting, was it just kind of very initiatory, like flirting at first? Okay.
Also, it's their job as law enforcement to kind of profile people and be able to feel people out. And it works, for the good of justice. And it also works, it could be used for, not full justice. And when people, if you just look into why false confessions happen and why people decide to falsely confess, there's like a whole reasoning and obviously psychology behind it. And a lot of times it comes from people who are very passive and, obviously law enforcement would feel people out and realize, like, is this person going to fight me back and ask for a lawyer, or are they going to let me keep pushing them with questions, and will they eventually crack if I keep badgering at them? Which, like I said, the tactics can be used for good, but also in certain instances they can be used for bad. And they knew, and Coder's saying right here, you strike me as a shy guy, this and that. And for this conversation, it's working for their favor. But if you think about the fact that the confessions have changed from the beginning, and the first confession wasn't true, because that was, I killed Shanann because she killed the girls, you realize that when you do research, Chris's personality actually is perfect for the 25% of confessions that end up being false. He's just like the perfect passive, people pleaser. And if you look into why false confessions happen, a lot of times if you're this type of personality, then you're definitely in a statistic of you're prone to possibly being the type that a law enforcement would be able to kind of coerce and get a false confession out of. And I believe, sadly, that is what Tammy did. And she continues to kind of feed him answers and butt in. And at some points, you can kind of tell Coder's kind of like not annoyed, because you can't really tell that, but you'll see when we get there.
From both sides?
Yeah, they were just kind of like feeling each other out. It's kind of like,
Yeah. And so, texts, any calls?
more near the end of June,
Okay. And what makes you remember that it's June that it happened?
because we called each other before I left to go to San Diego.
Oh, okay. All right. At first, did you think something might happen?
I just thought it was just flirting. I didn't think it was actually like something that would actually happen.
Yeah. Well, it's totally natural, right? I mean, everyone kind of flirts at work, right? Because the relationship between men and women is different. So if you're working with a girl at work, it's just kind of natural to flirt. I get it.
I wish I was out in the field more instead of at the office. Those demo, but
Yeah. I kind of see it in your eyes.
So Coder can see it in Chris's eyes that, because Chris just said, I wish I was out in the field and not so much in the office. Because, Coder's saying it's normal to flirt and this and that. Like, obviously, we know it's not, but he's just trying to relate guy to guy with Chris, his little tactic here of being his buddy. And Chris is saying, I wish I wasn't in the office. So subtly, if you think about it, he could be saying, I wish, I wasn't around NK. That's how I take it.
That's kind of where the path started, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, if I was like, because when I went from like a rover to a field coordinator, like I would spend more time in the morning time in the office trying to get everything like situated where we're going to go, and everything like that. And, if I was a rover, I'd be more out in the field, and instead of like coming to the office like for more than an hour.
Right.
And just gave me more time to run into her, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. What did she know about you? Did she know you were married at first?
She did once I showed her the pictures on my phone.
Yeah.
On the, like, the home screen picture and everything.
So was your wife in that picture, or was it just your girls?
It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh.
So she knew I was married with my kids.
Okay.
Are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married? What did you think about that?
I figured it was like, just trying to save face, trying to, I just trying to, some of my sister said it was like, just trying to keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying to, she
Damage control, I think, is the term that he's searching for, which we know NK uses that term also. And that's definitely what she did. She lied and tried to say exactly what Amber Fry said. I didn't know he was married and I didn't know she was pregnant. But the only difference is Amber Fry wasn't cyber stalking them.
phrase it a different way, but just kind of like, it's like ground control, just trying to control everything that's going on around her. Because I'm sure she got bombarded by all kinds of different sides from the media and everything. So,
Have you talked to her at all? No.
I'm hoping she hasn't written me in a different alias or something. I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh.
And are you not allowed to talk to her?
I would hope that.
Okay. No one's told you that, though?
No, I mean, I would expect I thought like in Colorado it said like on a DOC list of if you're on like a victim list you can't call anybody.
Oh, right.
But here I'm not sure if that's the same. But I've just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once just to
get some closure?
just to say like, hey, just once.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, like, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure, like, what happened, like, afterwards, like, what you went through. Like, if you had, like, counseling, if you're, like, different state, if you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry, and that's not something I ever saw in my life happening or happening to somebody else either.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
Do you want us to? Do you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, then I'm not sure if someone comes in. I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to call. Answer.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah.
Notice how they didn't answer him if they were in contact with her still. Like, Baumhover said, do you want us to tell her? And he said, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm not sure if you've been in contact with her. Like, they didn't say yes or no. And I believe it was a no. Because I think they hadn't done any investigating on her after, he goes away. They don't really have the need to. And if they were, it was behind the scenes and nothing happened. Obviously, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. They left a business card there. And she just, pretty much after like the 5th attempt, she said stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting bombarded like everyone else, so.
And hopefully it's calmed down since, but I'm sure, like, I just hope she can, like, I'm not, there's like normalcy for her, not since she's on the outside, but I'm hoping it can get that way.
Do you guys think it's interesting how he said, I hope that she can get some sort of normalcy because she's on the outside? A lot of people, when this came out 3 years ago, were like, why did he just say because she's on the outside? It makes it seem like, should she be on the inside? Like, is she like lucky that she's on the outside? And, I don't know. Do you guys think that terminology means anything? Or do you think it's just kind of just saying, she's free or she's out there and I'm in here? Put a 1 if you think that's interesting. Like, it makes it seem like she should be on the inside, and put a 2 if it's just Chris being weird. Okay, yeah, Matthew said no, it's just how jail people talk. Right, like, it's like he's on the inside. Crime Curious says he misses her. Ugh. Probably, yeah. A lot of people thought, I think it's interesting, he's on the inside. Or she's on the outside. I don't know. Yeah, it does seem like jail talk. Already, and we talk about Chris being a chameleon and him being able to just blend in and change with whoever he's around. So already he's kind of, transformed.
Point. I'm not sure if she had to leave Colorado or not, but I'm sure that would have been hard if she did.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing Darko was her dream job, so that's one thing I always asked my attorneys is did she have to leave? Like, did she have to do anything at work? That was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Yeah. What does she mean?
Like in the oil company in Darko is unless you're working for BP or ConocoPhillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And Darko's
It's like big leagues.
Yeah.
Can I ask kind of a tough question?
Mm-hmm.
Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her.
See, I think that him saying I felt that it was true is more interesting than him saying, since she's on the outside, like, did you love her? I felt that it was true. Like, just say yes or no. Like, so if it wasn't true, it was false, which a lot of people think that he was kind of sought after by her and other people involved in this, and he was just like the patsy that they were using to complete the explosion. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it really was just he was picked for being kind of like a pushover guy that they could use. Thank you, Derek. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I agree that she's on the outside could be means something more, like she should be on the inside, but then it's also prison talk. I noticed you said 1 and 2, and I feel the same. And that's true. Brooks said he did have to Google love. Yeah, he did. Hi, Marshall Dove.
Okay. Tell us about the time you spent with her.
I mean, it felt like it was, I think like when you say like more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue, because like when me and Shanann met, it was like.
So NK pursued him. She was the aggressor.
She was always like pushing me away, kind of like,
She was sick for a while, right?
Oh yeah, she had just got diagnosed with lupus, and she was on like a bunch of different medications and stuff. And it was like, I guess I wasn't her type. And
you weren't her type.
I wasn't her type. Because like she told me like when she first, because we had met.
She told you that?
Yeah,
You're not
I remember you telling me that.
it was like when we first met, like it was at a movie theater. And my cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I
think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know like that.
They weren't having any games.
So she was fancy and he was in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
Shoes and, like, I should know the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. Like when the theater.
It was a fancy theater, right?
It was in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter, and apparently they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he came like he was going to a
Like I was
Cinemax.
like I was going to a bar.
Like,
Yes. Yeah. Her cackle. It's so cringe. Yeah, Brooks. They sound like old friends. Yeah. It's just weird to think about, like, and that's how, I mean, Chris is just so strange socially and just every which way. He's over here laughing around and joking with people who, locked him up, and not only locked him up, but kind of like, I mean, that whole fake confession, the first Tammy saying, did Shanann do that to the girls? So you had to hurt Shanann. I mean, that there was so many other tactics they could have used. So and somebody said earlier that they keep butting in and speaking for Chris and that they need to let him talk. If none of this matters as far as charges against him, then just let him talk. Yeah, Brooks said, this is pissing me off all over again. And Marshall Dove said, I'm getting all pissed off real fast listening to them. Me too. And you know what? I'm sorry to say, but we have to assume, even though we've been given 4 hours and 41 minutes of this, I assume that they edited stuff out. And I'm sorry, but I just can't trust the transparency thus far in this. And 3 years later, I just still am feeling like I just have to assume that there were things that they cut out before they released this.
AMC.
Like a white theater? No, it was like you just watch the normal movie, but like you can like drink champagne and like have like Jack and Coke inside the theater and just sit there and just whatever. But like when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. Like, no, I'm not you're here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on our first date, like I couldn't even eat anything really. I was just like,
Just so nervous.
Yeah, Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she was just like, chowing down. And she was like, you like a bird. I'm like, oh, that's funny. And she talked to my parents, like, months later. She was like, this guy just never ate. He's like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. It's trash disposal. I was like, no, not around me. I was like, well, I was nervous. I was just like, I was always like shaking and everything. But yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like finally, I grew onto her. Like, I would always like with her medications and stuff. I would always she had like 8 bottles of medication, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little flip open pill box, all that kind of stuff. And I would always be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. I mean, she said after that she knew that was like kind of a keeper. It's like who goes to a colonoscopy after 3 months with somebody? Right.
It's a little soon.
Well, she asked if she needed that ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go to colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. Like, I even sat with her while she drank that nasty stuff all day. Yeah.
Oh. Where she's in the bathroom
That's
all
a good
day?
test.
that clear stuff that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kissinger?
No, with talking about Shen, and like the first year, my parents never. I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
Why?
I was the baby, I guess. I never, because I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never really saw me like.
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because when I turned 18, I graduated. I never moved back.
Okay.
At home, so my sister moved back and forth all the time. So
how old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So
okay.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
Nothing more than like 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was some girls here and there, but just nothing more than the last girlfriend I had before Shanann, she would just actually got divorced, and I should never did that. But it was more of like I was kind of like helping her get through her divorce. It seemed like she went on to somebody else. I'm like, oh, nice to know.
You're the rebound guy.
The rebound guy.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm going to send you the link, CDT. I know you just got home, so whenever you're settled and all that, I'll just send it to you in our chat. So give me 1 second to do that. So while I'm doing that, Chris was the rebound guy for somebody. And actually, when I did my documentary on Chris Watts, they interviewed his college roommate, and his college roommate pretty much backed this statement up that, like, yeah, he didn't really date girls in college either. He stuck with his studies and barely partied with them. He barely even drank unless it was like at a party, and it was never anything, crazy. 1 second, please.
But that's how it goes.
Would you say that in your relationships with women, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems to me like you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type. Yeah. But then
I can't help but think that Tammy likes that she has, and this is just me talking crap about Tammy, but I just really can't stand her. But I think that she liked the fact that she was the type of woman that he might find be attracted to because she's dominant. Yeah, Sugar Mama said Tammy is very giggly and friendly, but they all are. Yeah, that's true. But she does interrupt him the most.
Stan usually made all the decisions, it seemed like, so.
I get that. I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So here we have Tammy butting in with the tactic that Coder is doing at this moment. Um, Coder's tactic with Chris, buddy, like that's how Coder got an apology from Chris for lying. You know what I mean? Um, and now we have him saying, yeah, I'm the same way, trying to relate to Chris in the sense of like the type of women they like, and he just can't help it. And then Tammy butts in and says, well, I don't think that's true about you. First off, Tammy, he's doing his own like tactic here. So if he wants to lie to Chris, maybe his wife in real life, Coders, isn't the aggressive type, or like Shanann. Here we have Tammy just blowing his spot up pretty much and saying like, no, I don't think that's true. But it's like, can you just not interrupt? Like, who knows where that was gonna go towards, and Tammy ruins it. Jeez.
So,
Ew. And then again with the laugh. Okay, did you hear that? She was laughing so loud. And that's the thing about re-listening to this, guys. I'm going to be focused in a lot on like the questions that they're asking him, and that their tactics here. And did you hear Coder not even laugh or anything like with Tammy? He just goes, so I'm just going to rewind that real quick. That little.
like, you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type.
Yeah.
But then like Stan usually made all the decisions. It seemed like so.
I get that. I'm the same. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So then, and I know it's hard to keep bouncing back and forth, but and one of the reasons we're here is we just keep telling ourselves, Chris just does not fit the mold. Chris does not.
No.
Like it just blows us away what happened, right? And so we will do a little bit of bouncing back and forth, and that's really just to get to know you a little bit better, because we never really got that chance, did we? We were talking
twice.
Yeah.
Met you once.
Yeah.
Probably like three. Well, you remember 3 or 4 times probably.
So then do you call her Nikki or Nicole?
I would call her Nikki.
Okay.
I know there's so many Nikki's and Nicoles in this.
Right. There is.
I got confused.
So we'll call her Nikki.
Okay.
So then with Nikki, was it different?
It just seemed like I was more in control. It seemed like, and that never happened. Like she'd actually like ask me like my opinion on a lot of things and just like what I wanted to do, and just kind of like, okay.
That was new, wasn't it?
Very new.
Oh, that's fascinating to me. And so did it feel more like an equal partnership, or?
It seemed like it.
Yeah. Okay. So then when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere, or would she say, I want to go somewhere? Was it too fast?
The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, off the 144th over there, and I asked her like, "Yeah, you want to go see this movie?" And like, she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we got there. It was sold out, and normally you probably just have just wait 2 hours, like just go home. But now she just wanted to walk around and just talk. I'm like, "Okay."
Oh wow.
So that was different, and I think she wanted to go to the car museum, Shelby Museum in Boulder. I've never been there, and I was
That's right up your alley.
I was just like, that was awesome, just to walk around cars for like an hour or so. And then, drag race in Vandermeer.
Okay.
And this doesn't make sense to me. Just listening to this again, and he's talking about how different it was with Nicole, and he's talking about they go to the movies and then they decided to walk around, and that was different. Like, I know that there was posts and pictures of him at the movies with Shanann and like the kids. So like, why would it be that, they go to the movies and walk around and this was different? Like, there's just so much that he's not saying that was different with NK. And then he goes on with, talking about they went to the Shelby Mustang Museum, and Brooks comment on the screen, "Stop, Chris. She let you be in control." NK specifically was the way she was with Chris to, you know, make him want her, in my opinion. Like, I just feel, and plus knowing how she cyber stalked them, everything she did was a manipulative tactic. And again, I'm not taking any blame off of Chris or discrediting the horrific involvement in everything he did in this. But I just feel like, um, Brooks, I just read your comment. Perhaps. Yeah. And honestly, yeah, that comment almost goes along with what I'm saying. It maybe could have been that. And Lynn is getting it too. 100% calculated. Derek says she conformed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. She played the game. And that's the thing, is like, she used him for sex and spied on Shanann. Exactly. With social media. Exactly. And I believe also, just from studying all this, that Chris has sex addiction. And I think that that had a lot to do with him letting NK take control and like just being at her, every whim, pretty much, just very weak. I think there could have been drugs also involved, but I just, there was something that also made it so that he couldn't stop for whatever reason. Yeah, Seth, NK likes control. We see that in her interviews with a CBI agent, Kevin Kopak. All of a sudden she takes control, and like that's who she is. But for some reason she conformed and made it so Chris saw it that he was in control, So she's fake. And why did she act this way, pretty much? Like, just honing in on things he likes, this and that. It's crazy.
I've been to a drag race since 2008. And that was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Like they have a 4-lane drag strip over there. It's like the NHRA, the Top Fuel, fun car stuff. Like me and my dad used to grow up and go there like all the time. And then like went camping in Sand Dunes National Park, and I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it. Thought it was, she'd done it like countless times.
Oh, really? Okay. She's outdoorsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's, I guess every time like she needed to clear her head, she'd just go by herself.
Something else I'm noticing this time around, the sand dunes, we don't really get much of that at all from Chris before he goes to prison. Actually, I don't even know if they talked about it at all with him. Here we have him offering up that little, we went to the sand dunes. Like, has no problem talking about the sand dunes now. Whereas before, I mean, maybe it just didn't come up. Maybe it wasn't, something, there's many reasons why maybe he didn't bring it up. But when it's talked about with NK, she doesn't offer that information up. She's asked, did you guys ever go out of town together or go on any vacations? And she's like, we went to the sand dunes. And like, she didn't, in my opinion, and, once we get through this and day one, blah, 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 we're going to get to NK eventually. Yeah, CDT, maybe they did redact it. Exactly. We have to assume like there's information in those interviews that maybe the public never got. And the sand dunes have a lot of mystery surrounding them, in my opinion. Thank you, Valerie. You like that impersonation? We've listened to her so much that I expect all you guys to have a very on point NK impression. But it's just interesting when we get to hear her, it just really seemed like she was reluctant to talk about the sand dunes. And now he's in prison and he offers that up. We went to this, he didn't have to say that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Just go somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
but she's a completely new type of person and relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What were you thinking this whole time? Like, in the back of your head?
In the back of my head, I was just telling myself, "What are you doing?" Like, every time, I open up my phone, I can see pictures and like of my wife and my kids, and just
So he is asking himself, what are you doing? And when we're talking about, like Derek said earlier, NK was like a drug for him. Yeah, Derek, I agree. I think the final plan was ironed out at the sand dunes. I think, something significant that was part of the premeditation for the crimes definitely happened there for sure. But earlier, Derek said she was a drug to him. And, when we say possible sex addiction, if we're going to replace sex with any other drug, there's instances where people ask themselves, like, what am I doing? And he's having these battles. If what he's saying is true, what am I doing? I don't know. It just is like interesting that it just seems like he had some sort of, she just had a lot of power over him.
it's like, "What am I doing?" And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like a blinder that was on my face,
Oh,
and just like every time I look back on it, like, like I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself, and like every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say like I have like this book I used to read for CC, and I remember that book, so I read that to them like every night, and like there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them, so I just try to think back, like I wish this never happened. It's just like I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, right in my eyes. That would have seen what was going on. Like, I was having, everybody says, "Oh, you're just out there having fun while your kids, or kids and wife are on vacation." I'm just like, no, it wasn't like that. But it seemed like that's what it looked like when you're going, you're going to camping, you're going to drag race, going all the other stuff.
Okay. I was just going to ask chat, what do you guys think of this his voice crackling a bit or this or that? Like, does it sound sincere or does it sound regretful? Does it sound like he has remorse? I'm looking at chat. He is a liar. I've rolled my eyes 100 times. How do you guys think that this sounds? To me, I don't know. It sounds, if I'm going to be honest, it sounds to me like, I don't know. I just really don't think the kids were part of his plan. Like something happened that was, he got himself in this situation, of course, and he planned for sure. Shanann, he did not want that pregnancy. He did not want that baby. Jade said he's setting a scene. It's a play. Fake.
You have fun doing it, but you're with somebody else. It's not your family. It just didn't seem right. All with her, it just didn't seem like I could even see that anymore.
Mary Jane said, I feel it is sincere. It sounds very, I don't know. I think he's holding back so much. I think that there's just a lot of things that he's holding back, that the words that are coming out don't sound sincere because he's only giving pieces. So he's lying still, but I think that there is some sort of, something that is he's upset about. And if the kids weren't a part of the plan, then possibly he's still kind of upset about how everything went down, but he can't say exactly everything. The kids were not a part of the plan. Derek said for him, I believe he has regret what happened to them. Yeah, that's what I mean is like, I think he's holding back on what really took place. And right now he's lying because he's not going to tell the truth still. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah. He's protecting the mistress. He's protecting co-workers, I believe. I just think the emotions are coming from him holding back the truth. Yeah, Christy said, I don't think he's ever good at expressing his emotions. Yeah, that's honestly, I think that he had no attachment to Nico. And I think he was done with Shanann. But I just feel like, and he does have tears roll down his eyes at sentencing, but you can't see the media doesn't play those clips often. But when they talk about Bella's injuries and they go into detail, there is, I mean, I'm just saying what I see. I don't know why. Maybe he's crying because he got caught. A lot of people can speculate. We don't know what's going on. But there is something about him that is strange when it comes to his emotions. And Vicky said, I do think that sounds remorseful. I just feel like there is a bit of sadness when it comes to the girls, not Shanann for some reason. He wasn't connected to the baby yet, is what I think the difference is. I agree, Terry. Yeah, there were tears. And they're hard, those images are hard to find on Google and stuff. They, for some reason, the algorithm hides when he did actually tear up at sentencing, when they were talking about Bella's injuries and how it was a struggle with whoever, snuffed the life out of her, as they said, the district attorney said. Yeah, I mean, it could be because he does talk about his coworkers and wanting to know what they thought of him and stuff like that. Hi, Scottish Queen. I think if he would turn back time, he would not do it again. I agree for sure. Hard to get your voice to crack purposely. Right. That's what I feel is like he's holding back the truth. I don't know how he's doing it. I think the tears were for the kids. No one knows for sure why he cried, but he did cry. That's true. And we don't know for sure. And people speculate, oh, he felt bad for himself. We don't know. He had hate for Shanann. He did. For sure. I think Chris is passive. He allowed the girls to be killed. Yeah. Somebody was and this is just my opinion. Of course, I reiterate, Chris is where he needs to be, but I have feelings though that somebody was in control that day with the kids, and it wasn't so much Chris. Yeah, he is holding so much back. I don't know how he can physically do that. Like you feel it, like that's why his voice is crackling. It's bottling up. He's not telling the truth.
I was there at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about anything. Because literally I didn't, like I was only at home from like when I got home from work. I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over to her house. Like I never slept in my house in like the whole month of July.
Now, talk me through that though. When you said you went home and then you were at her house, was that while Chanel was gone? Oh, okay. So you weren't even at your house.
No,
This all happened so quickly, didn't it?
it was insane quickly.
Okay. Yes, I agree, Terry. She said there is no proof he acted alone or that he even killed them. He said over and over his hands would not be on the girls. Yeah, he said that in his interrogations before or after the polygraph that, if they did more investigating, would they find his hands on or handprints or something like that on the girls, and he said it wouldn't come back to him, so it's just we never got the swabs, and when you go through the court documents, there was they asked the courts to allow the defense team asked the courts to allow swabbings of the neck done by a forensic person, and the judge denied it.
I didn't like. She even told me like she would never, like a normal relationship, she would never have somebody over at her house like more than like once or twice a week. But she felt like she wanted me over there. Yeah. She said she felt comfortable over there. Yeah. So it's just like that's what was different. Like she wanted me over there, but I just wish that all that would just go away. I just wish I almost like I know it's hard to.
And when he says, it happened so quickly, like, I just feel like that's a lie. Like, I don't believe him when he's like, yeah, insanely quick. Like, no, you guys were talking for a lot longer. That's why as soon as Shanann went away, she wanted you over every night, like at that point, it was probably a different stage in the relationship for their affair. It went from texting through Snapchat probably and the secret calculator app. And then, he gets a new work phone and she goes away to North Carolina, and then everything escalated as it probably would have, in any other person who was having an affair at that point. Obviously, she's going to want you over every night. If the affair had just started like in June 1st, like he said, there's no way. I mean, I guess you could argue it, but it doesn't make sense for how rapid everything, her hold on him and this and that. By the time we see his face when he's in North Carolina, he is so detached from Shanann. And I feel like it took way longer than a little over a month or whatever for that to happen.
I know it's wrong to say I wish I never met somebody, but I wish I, maybe met her at work and then just kept it that way.
I think if we had a time machine, I don't think this would happen again. Because some people, when this happens, you're like, well, if it wasn't this time, it would have been next time, or it would have been the next time. It just wouldn't have happened with you, would it? And it happened so quickly that you tell me if I'm wrong. You're not the type of guy to take control sometimes when you need to. Yeah, it seems like that's just what happened.
Yeah, I didn't take control of the situation. It was like the situation controlled me.
Right, it just happened. No, I get that, man. I'm somewhat passive myself, and it's like, there's situations where I'm like, well, why did I let that keep going?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching the ticket on and just never picked it up.
Yeah.
Felt like a roller coaster ride that I kept punching the ticket on and just couldn't get off. Like, that is like, I don't know. That's why I just feel more and more like there was either drugs or a sex addiction going on. Yeah, it was exciting and new. I think they met earlier than when they started sleeping together. Like, I feel like he said, it escalated one day and he never thought it would. Like, I think that she worked her way into things and like started out as like friend, texting, flirting. And for some reason it escalated. But before June 1st, I think they were sleeping together before then. Kristen said, I'm surprised Tammy didn't jump in there and say, no, Coder, you're not passive. Cackle. Yeah. I think she knew her place the first time because Coder didn't laugh along with them. And Terry said, and remember, Dylan Tallman said Chris said NK killed the girls. David and Dylan said that Chris said that, right? Another reason other than NK, I think he killed her was child support. He knew paying on 3 kids, he would never have anything. Yeah. And he definitely didn't want another baby tied in, for sure.
Can we talk about the hardest subject? So when we were talking, the last time we talked, the last thing we talked about was where the girls were, but we never really got to talk about that night. So what happened?
So nothing really happened that night. It was in the morning. Okay. It was, me and Shanann, she got home like at 2 o'clock. And, I felt her get into bed. And I just felt like I didn't feel it. I just make sure I looked at my phone at 2 o'clock and make sure she was okay, she's in there. And I could kind of feel her kind of stirring around a little bit. And I just had a feeling that she knew like what was going on. Because I mean, obviously, I didn't use like an NRCO gift card, that I'd gotten. I used my actual credit card, and I kind of just felt like she knew what was going on, and she started rubbing her hand on me, and we ended up having sex. But I guess that was more like a test.
Oh,
I would have thought.
What do you guys think? And I know I don't mean to be insensitive, but it is what it is. Do you think that Chris and Shanann had sex when she came home from Arizona the night that we last saw her on the Vivint camera? Press 1 if you think they had sex. Press 2 if you think Chris is lying here and they didn't have sex. I've always kind of thought that they did not have sex. But now I'm like, I'm not decided. I'm kind of like, this time hearing him, I'm thinking maybe they did. Brooks said, yes. Oh my gosh, Brooks. I was just kind of thinking, okay, I'm serious, guys. I always was, no, that didn't happen. Yeah, Mar said he hated her. I need to hear that again. I don't know. Now I'm like kind of undecided. I'm undecided. And I was always a no, that never happened. But hearing it almost, I don't know. It's hard to tell because he's such a dang liar. Let me just rewind it a little bit.
It's never picked it up.
yeah. Can we talk about the hardest subject? So when we were talking, the last time we talked, the last thing we talked about was where the girls were, but we never really got to talk about that night. So what happened?
So nothing really happened that night. It was in the morning. Okay. It was, me and Shanann, she got home like at 2 o'clock. And, I felt her get into bed. And I just felt like I didn't feel it. I just make sure I looked at my phone at 2 o'clock and make sure she was okay, she's in there. And
I don't know. Now I'm back to thinking they didn't. Only because I think that like when I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't want to tell the truth about what happened when they got home, when she got home, because it's like sinister or something. So now he's trying to fill in that time and stuff and story with they had sex. Because remember, it's possible that he's a sex addict. So, maybe that's just where his mind went right now is like, okay, I can just say this. I don't know. Let me just keep going.
I could kind of feel her kind of staring around a little bit, and I just had a feeling that she knew like what was going on. 'Cause, I mean, obviously, I didn't use like an Enerco gift card, that I'd gotten. I'd used my actual credit card, and I kind of just felt like something. She knew what was going on, and she started rubbing her hand on me, and we ended up having sex. But I guess that was more like a test.
Oh,
I would have thought.
interesting. Okay. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
because when we talked, when I woke up later on in the morning, like, I pretty much, told her, like, I didn't think it was going to work anymore. And she was like, what happened? What was last night?
Mm-hmm.
I figured that's caused the test after I've gone through everything in my head.
That makes sense.
And she just told me, like, to get off of her. And she's like, I knew there was somebody else. I knew there was somebody else.
Yeah, I'm just looking at chat, kind of talking about this whole part. Right. There's just a lot of mixed feelings just reading. Maybe they did. I know.
Else and there was somebody else. I couldn't bring it. I couldn't just say yes, there is somebody else. But then she's like, "You're never going to see the kids again. You're never going to see them again. Get off me. Don't hurt."
And I'll never forget the first time I heard this interview. I looked in the comments section of the video that I was watching it from, and it was quoting him right here. You're never going to see the kids again. You're never going to see the kids again. And then underneath the quote, it said, but kills the kids and never sees them again. And that's what is just so, it doesn't make sense here. And that's why I'm like, I know Scottish Queen, me too. I'm conflicted if I think they had sex or not too. Because if Shanann put the moves on him and he's a sex addict, in my mind or whatever, he wouldn't be able to say no to her. You know what I mean? And she had talked about, being hormonal and horny, and maybe she wanted to see, if he rejected her, then maybe he wasn't cheating. You know what I mean? Okay, hold on. What was I just talking about before we started talking about the sex thing again? Exactly. He's lying. He may not be lying. No one knows. Right. What's he lying about? I forgot. But Shanann was trying to have sex with him for a while. Her text to friends said he kept rejecting her, right? And then she had some text with him saying that they had a really good talk, and thanks for letting her hold him or something like that. And that was before she went to Arizona. So it seemed as though, in what I gathered, they did kind of rekindle something before. Okay, about how he killed her. Yeah. Yeah. It makes no sense what he's saying here, because he's, if she's saying to him, you're never going to see the kids again, you're never going to see the kids again. Thanks. Thanks, Chet. Why would he go ahead and kill the kids? It just doesn't make sense. Right, Matthew. That's true. And, It's just human nature.
And then
Is that what you said?
so I was good. Like when I climbed in bed, I was pretty much like on top, pretty much like straddling her kind of deal.
Okay.
And she thought I was gonna like, you know, hurt her or her baby or something. So because she knew that, like, you know, something had happened. She thought I was just trying to, you know, just check out or something. So, and that's when that happened.
I know it's hard, but do you mind if we talk just a tiny bit deeper about that? So she comes home, you know, she touches you, you guys have sex. It seems like she's doing her test, which I understand. It sounds like you do too.
I'm sure, like, you know, Nikki or not Nikki, Cole Atkinson or Cassie probably told her, you know.
That's what I was thinking, right? They talked about it during that whole weekend.
More than like that. That's my parents told me there was like going through like text messages. It's like all like pretty much they all kind of just told her it's with somebody else type of deal.
Yeah. And she spent a lot of time with the gals. That's what they did probably all weekend is talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex. And then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point, does she wake you up or did he wake you up for work?
Not a lot more.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out.
Mhm.
But then that's when she started wanted to talk more. And she was pretty mad. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I had already kind of knew that. You know, using that credit card, it was.
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh.
I used, like, because I got these Anadarko gift cards from, like, you know, doing good stuff at work and stuff like that, and I'd use them all.
Oh. Was part of you just like, screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nikki, can you pay for this? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like he didn't ask NK to pay for the bill, and I think that the pressure was on for Chris at that point by NK and by others to make it, and when I say others, I feel, you know, accomplices involved in this. I feel like they put the pressure on Chris to prove to them that he was really ready. You know, if you don't give a crap about your wife anymore, then just use this credit card and show us that even if she brings it up to you in text message or whatever, why you're using this or what you're paying for, this and that. Show us that you're for real, ready to let go. And, you know, it might have been like a pressure on him. And he's saying here that he wishes that he would have asked NK to pay. I don't know. And yeah, I agree, CDT. I want to know more about the Anadarko gift cards. And if they were given out for being a good employee, following safety codes, and as a reward, it would seem like the person in charge of health and safety would be in charge of knowing about the gift cards, and that was NK. Okay, Seth, have a good night, and thank you so much for being here. I'll continue this. Just check back on my channel. I'm not sure when the next stream it'll be, because this obviously is a long one, so it's going to take more than this one night. Yeah, I agree. It is ridiculous that there could be other things out there. Yeah, it is. It's true.
Even I think my attorney said she even noticed I used a different card, like a blue card. Maybe she thought, you know, like I felt comfortable enough just using a normal bank account or something. But you know, I told her I was going to Iraq, and I told you I was going to Iraq.
Yeah.
It felt like, you know, like looking back at everything, like just like reading the scripture more and more now, I can see, like, you know, God gave me opportunities to get out. Like even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me to, because like it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on Saturday.
So here we go with him talking about, you know, his newfound prison religion, and you know, God gave him multiple opportunities, he's saying, to get out, and he didn't, you know, and he is guilty, you know, for what he did, and he's where he belongs. But it's interesting that, you know, he's acknowledging and kind of carrying the guilt of like, yeah, you know, you had multiple opportunities to walk away and you didn't. I don't know. I think that that's interesting because I feel like he carries guilt, which he should, you know, because of his involvement. But for some reason, I just feel like there's a lot more that he carries besides, you know, what he's saying he's carrying. You know, he had multiple opportunities to get out of this and he didn't. I don't know. Thank you, Brooks. I really appreciate that. I don't know if I'm making sense, guys, but
That Saturday night. And he was like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game. You want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals? I was like,
in a specific example of a time that he could have gotten away and, you know, had the opportunity to change things is on that Saturday, you know, before the murders, when he goes out on the date with NK. You know, Jeremy is saying, come to the Rockies game with me. And Chris is using this example as like, you know, that was his chance. Why is that so significant? You know, the night that he goes out on the date with NK, you know, their last date together. Why was that night such a significant night in his mind that, you know, he could have gone with his friend Jeremy and he didn't?
in my mind, it was like, you know, go. Just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki.
Yeah. And maybe that would have been like, like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out, it seems like. So, I wish I would have said, yeah, let's go. Yeah. And I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
Yes,
So
something everyone wants to know. What happened that night? Yeah, CDT, you can join. I'm gonna go a little bit longer, but even if I spend a few minutes with you, you know, I treasure it. But the link is in the private chat. So yeah, why somebody just took the words right out of Sugar Mama. Her head, a light bulb would have gone off in my head, a light bulb would have gone off in her head. Valerie said light switch in her head tells a lot. Aussie girl said, did he say to get out? Okay, I'm going to rewind that, guys, and we can re-listen when CDT is up. What are you guys thinking? Valerie, Aussie girl, and Sugar Mama, when he says her head.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, sorry it took so long. We had family stuff, but I'm
No
glad I'm
worries.
to be here with you.
No worries. We've had a good chat so far, and thanks for being in the chat anyways, like even if you couldn't come up on here. What do you think? We've obviously talked about this a lot. And when he says a light switch would have gone off in my head and a light switch would have gone off in her head, why would we need a light switch to go off in NK's head? Like,
Yeah.
was she involved in something in over her head too? You know what I mean? That maybe they both were thinking like, man, that was their chance to get, like, what do you think that means? Valerie says, I think he wishes one of them changed their mind that night and didn't seal the deal on their plan.
Yeah, that light switch in her head has always bothered me. And I think I made a video about it a while ago because that comment has always stuck out to me. Um, Again, I think Chris, just like NK, they lie very easily, and it can be hard to distinguish when they're lying when they're telling the truth. But I do feel like he really did regret going to the lazy dog. And, he even talks about the friend asking him to go to the game, and that was his last chance. But yeah, I just don't understand why any kind of light bulb in NK's head would need to be going off if this was all his idea. She had absolutely no idea. And I wish that they had asked Chris here, what did you guys talk about at the Lazy Dog? What was your topic of conversation? They don't go there with him, but they do with NK. And she says, we were dialing in the macronutrients. It's just all weird. And
Yeah.
then let me know, Amber, and then also in chat, didn't Ronnie Watts, remember like a year ago when he was talking to KK and
Mhm.
they asked about the what Chris was saying on the way from the airport to the police station, and Ronnie said that Chris said he just kept saying he wishes he had gone to the game that night.
Yep. Yeah, that did come out. I want to say Lana maybe said that somebody, like you said, or was it Unjustified?
I thought it was that Kim Kaufman lady, but I could be wrong.
Oh,
I just vaguely remember that.
yeah. Somebody who was talking to Ronnie Watts did specify that it was kind of emphasized to Ronnie. Yeah, like you said, Chris really thought like that night, he wished he could have gone back, right?
Yeah, I wish he could have, or he wishes that he had gone to the game.
Crazy.
Yeah, Sugar's mama says she remembers. And yeah, Nikki, if we could just watch that dinner date on the CCTV. Yeah, agree. But yeah, the light switch, and maybe a light switch in my head would have gone off, a light switch in her head would have gone off, and things would have went a different way. And see, again, that's where, and I just wish they would have been like, what do you mean, Chris? Why would a light switch in her head need to have gone off?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
why?
Chris said it, but I think also Ronnie said it too. But yeah.
Um, Karen said that Saturday night has great significance. It does. And like you said, we don't have the footage from their dinner, and we don't have the footage from the gas station when he's breaking the change allegedly for the babysitter. We don't have the outside footage. So we don't know if people were with him or what was going on out there. You know what I mean?
And if anyone can remember back to NK's interview, she talks about her friend Danielle. First, she makes it sound like it's Daniel, but Venmo transactions seem to prove that she even says, and I hosted her last weekend, which would have been the weekend of, the 12th, or yeah, the 11th, 12th, into the 13th. So if she's hosting her friend, I want to know, does that mean the friend was in the apartment? Like, could that friend, why was she looking at threesomes? And I don't know. I really feel like this lazy, I agree with Karen, it has significance.
Yeah. Let's listen to that little excerpt again real quick. Oh, wait.
And can I say one more thing real
course.
fast? Sorry, it's just been so long since we've talked about this. But NK also said Chris seemed disinterested in the apartment talk that night. That she was, trying to show him these apartments and talk about it, and that he just didn't seem interested. Yeah, so was leave Jim alone. Yeah. So I thought that it's just compared to what Chris is regretting it and then what NK is saying, it's all very telling.
And everyone, and including the agents here, we get to it later on, want to know, like, what was with that gas can that night? Or, yeah, the night that he's loading the truck. And we see him at the gas station a few nights prior, and then we don't have the footage from the outside of the gas station. Like, I don't know if it's connected, but I can't help but wonder, if that night was so significant, then is there things that they could have gotten that they just haven't shown us. You know what I mean? Like, we know that they fumbled with the CCTV footage from the restaurant, but if they were able to get the inside of that gas station and then they released that one to the public, you know, what was the outside of the gas station footage and why wasn't that released?
Agree. That's a good question.
Talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found from, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex, and then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then, at some point, does she wake you up, or does he wake you up for work?
Not a lot more.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out, but then that's when she started wanted to talk more. And she was pretty mad. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I had already kind of knew that, you know, using that credit card,
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh,
I used, like, because I got these Antarctica gift cards from, like, you know, doing good stuff at work and stuff like that, and I'd use them all.
oh. Was part of you just like, screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nikki, can you pay for this? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Even I think from my attorney said she even noticed I used a different card, like a blue card. Maybe she thought, you know, like I felt comfortable enough just using a normal bank account or something. But you know, I told her I was going to Iraq, and I told you I was going to Iraq.
Yeah.
It was such, you know, it felt like, you know, like looking back at everything, like just like reading the scripture more and more now, I can see, like, you know, God gave me opportunities to get out. Like, even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because, like, it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on that Saturday night. And he was like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game. You want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals? Like, in my mind, it was like, you know, go. Just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki?
Yeah. And maybe that would have been like, you know, like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just like goes different directions. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out.
So he's saying, I wish I would have told them or told her I couldn't get a babysitter. So it's just like, you know, whatever took place that night, like he's over here wishing that, you know, he didn't even go at all.
Right. And he said, my last opportunity to get out. Yes, Kristen. Yeah. And the Pink Dahlia saying, if God gave him opportunities to get out of what? Why is the lazy dog your last opportunity to get out? And who's present with you at the lazy dog? At the very least, it was NK. I think possibly Jim and her other friend were also around, and possibly, you know, at her apartment when Chris showed up that Saturday. Because when we go back over NK's interviews, you're going to hear her say she hosted a friend that weekend.
And he said,
so where was she?
He had no choice. Like when it came to like paying, like okay, so he's planned a babysitter so they could go out on this date. Like he knew this was going on. So why didn't he goes to the gas station afterwards to get cash? Why didn't he go to the gas station or get cash before this date even started? Instead, he's over here saying he had to use the credit card. He had no other choice, pretty much. Like that's pretty much what he said. Hold on. Rewinding back. Like, why wouldn't he have a choice to use something other than his card, you know? I'm telling you, there's like some sort of pressure or like ultimatum.
I really wonder if it, you know, again, with these gift cards, I want to know more about them. I think they're important, especially for this last night. And I really wonder if NK was possibly in charge of the gift cards, if maybe she gave him one telling him it had enough on it, but then she made sure their bill was higher, or she gave it to him saying it had something on it and then it didn't, and they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't have any on it, or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
I just wonder more about that.
Right, I do too.
Talk about it, give her advice. I think
mentions the gift cards too.
Right. And it makes me wonder if she's just trying to say he was done with Shanann, that's why he didn't care to use his credit card, or like what she really means by like knowing which color card he used and which was a gift card. You know what I mean? Like, why does she have these details? There's always like a reason why she's dropping hints or information too, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, yeah, everything in Kay gives on her own, there's a motive behind why she's giving that info.
Right. So let me just play this again. Just the part where he said, I had no other choice. Like when he's saying like he had to use that credit card.
Mountain, right? Yeah. Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex. Talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found, right? Yeah. Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex. And then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point, does she wake you up or did you wake you up for work?
Not a lot of more.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out. But then that's when she started wanted to talk more. And she was pretty mad. Okay.
Yeah, it was, I had already kind of knew that, using that credit card,
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh.
I used, because I got these Anarco gift cards from, doing good stuff at work and stuff like that, and I'd use them all.
Oh. Was part of you just like, screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nikki, can you pay for this? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Even I think my attorney said she even noticed I used a different card, like a blue card. Maybe she thought, I felt comfortable enough just using a normal bank account or something. But I told her I was going to Iraq, and I told you I was going to Iraq.
Yeah.
It felt like, like looking back at everything, just reading the scripture more and more now, I can see God gave me opportunities to get out. Even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on that Saturday night. And he was like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game, you want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals? In my mind, it was go. Just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki?
Yeah. And maybe that would have been like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just goes different directions. That was kind of like my last opportunity to kind of get out, it seems like. 'Cause I wish I would have said, yeah, let's go. Yeah. And I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
So then, Shanann, did she actually say you're never going to see the kids again?
She said that to me before.
Yeah. That's kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, because she'd said to me before she went to Arizona. Because I wasn't really sleeping in the bedroom, I was sleeping on the couch or in the basement bed or something, and she had slammed the door, you're never going to see the kids again. So, yeah.
Did she get fiery like that?
Only once in our entire relationship I've ever seen her that way.
Yeah. And that was a time before, or was that on the night that happened?
No, it was right back in North Carolina.
Oh.
It was just one of those, it was just a fiery argument that I never raised my voice to her or anything, and I just got mad and I slammed the door, and she's like, I'm should have slammed the door.
Was that when you were in North Carolina that last week?
No, it was
previous to
this
that?
was 2010, 2011. It was early. In her old house.
Before kids?
Yes.
Were you dating or were you married at that point?
Dating.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just I don't remember what it was about. I think some girl maybe texted me from my past or something, and I was just this, and she was don't have that happen again, and I'm just I can't have friends.
Right.
They're females. I don't even talk to this woman anymore.
Right.
And it was just no.
Was she fiery? Did she have that Italian blood that her mom has?
Lord, yes.
Was she always like that, or was she? Did she snap at things?
she would snap at me, but you could tell, like, if something really irked her a little bit.
Yeah.
It would come out.
0 to 100 type thing or what?
Yeah, 0 to 200.
Oh, interesting.
She gets acclimated about something. She's like, all right, it's gonna happen.
Well, that's why she was probably so successful at Thrive, right?
Oh yeah, like she had done a couple other like direct sales business, but this one was just like it was different.
Why?
This one, like, I think she had done like Origami Owl and like something called like It Works, and then like other couple other things like some bags and stuff like that. With the supplement stuff, but just because it worked with her, it worked with me. She's like, okay, I can kind of like use this as like, all right, this is what's doing for us.
Yeah.
And then like after a little while, like she could see how like people are above her, how it was helping them, and then it was just like trickle down effect. It was like a good system about like commission wise and everything was just she could use all the business IQ she has from running those cell phone shops and from the Dirty South custom shops, all that. I mean, she's business minded. Yeah. She knows how to do accounting book like the back of her hand. So it all just like fell into place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
never had, or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was a totally different type of fight. It was it was just felt like I don't know, it was more anger than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first, and then it just felt like it was just anger. It was just like like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like it's almost like we knew like something was combating at it.
It seemed like he just said we. Hold on.
Can you go back? I missed it. It wouldn't surprise me though. I
I
just
feel like
I
he
didn't
said
even
when
catch it.
what we were saying and what she was saying. Hold on.
Just she could
That
use
does sound right. I feel
all
like
the business IQ she has from running those cell phone shops and from the Dirty South custom shops, all that. I mean, she's business minded. Yeah. She knows how to do accounting book like the back of her hand. So it all just like fell into place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
never had, or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was a totally different type of fight. It was it was just felt like I don't know, it was more anger than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first, and then it just felt like it was just anger. It was just like like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like
I swear, what
I
we were
definitely
saying,
heard it. Yes.
what we were saying,
Yep.
what she was saying. Wow.
Yes. And guys, don't forget in August, when Ronnie's in the room, he said that Shanann said F you, and F you. But yeah, I heard the we as well. Yeah. And I wish, I don't know, that they kind of had been like, how did you guys go from, being intimate and then you're on top of her? Like, how was the fight so different, Chris? I would just get a little deeper.
Right.
At least try.
And then he's like, it was just like, more anger. It just didn't seem believable, in my opinion. Like he was
Yeah.
trying to buy himself more time with like what he was saying. Like it just was like, I just don't think, and I was looking through chat as that was playing, a lot of people don't think that they had that argument that night. Like people are saying,
Yeah. I really go back and forth
yeah,
on how much communication they even had that night.
right. I know, because
Will
especially,
you play that one more time?
I
Or
will.
sorry, what were
And
you
then
gonna
I
say?
think
But
that
yeah, I
that's
want
a
to hear that
good,
again.
we're at a little over 2 hours. We'll listen to that again and then we'll decompress and say goodnight. And then we'll pick this back up because guys, this is, very long and I want us to go through and these, time spots matter. So we've got, I think, I want to say our first example of plural, other people involved as he's talking.
Yes.
Were you dating or were you married at that point?
She could use all the business IQ she has from running those cell phone shops and from the Dirty South custom shops, all that. I mean, she's business minded.
Yeah.
She knows how to do accounting book like the back of her hand. So it all just like fell into place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
Never had, or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was a totally different type of fight. It was, it was just felt like, I don't know, it was more anger than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first, and then it just felt like it was just anger. It was just like, like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like, it's almost like we knew like something was combating at each other.
So what we were saying and what she was saying.
Yeah, then you have back in August the 3 FUs. He said that Shanann said FU, FU, and FU. And these, where the we's are, he's not really thinking about it, in my opinion. He's thinking about it when he kind of stumbles.
Yeah.
Same thing when we get to where he talks about the disposal.
And it's so frustrating. Brooke said, thanks, Amber. Enjoyed getting all upset over this again. LOL. Happy 3 years. Exactly. And it's like I said, it's so frustrating because they didn't, of all the times Tammy cuts him off and steps in and they speak for him, not once do they step and say, we? What do you mean by we were saying? And of course, it's tactic. Keep them talking. Don't let him know that you've picked up on like him slipping up there, But here we are 3 years later. Everyone's hearing this. Support was, Steffa said, why did I never notice the we? This is so enlightening. There's more. I mean, we grabbed the shovel or we grabbed the rake. Like you said, that example, FU, FU, and FU. Was there 3 people there? It's just so many examples of Chris alluding to, other people being around them at that scene. And I feel like, that's a good place to stop. And, it's disheartening because we're intelligent people. And I feel like we know in our gut that there's more to this. And it's very frustrating, but yet here we all are going over it again.
Yeah.
Maybe we're crazy.
I just think maybe we are, but I mean, I can't help but every time I listen to it, it feels like you pick up something else or, kind of think of a different scenario with what he's saying. But yeah, especially, you have all these Tubi shows, Netflix shows. So why can't we talk about it as well and talk about what Chris Watts is saying? That's all we're doing. And it's just a fascinating case. Yeah. And Zach says, will Chris ever tell the truth? I wonder if he'll ever do another interview. I mean, he has spoken from prison some, but I just wonder if he'll ever do another sit down interview or if, they'll ever go back, because Coder ends it saying they may go back.
Yeah, he's like, don't be surprised if you hear from us or we come back. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
but I
exactly,
appreciate you
Amanda.
doing this, and I'm excited to listen and join, and it's going to be interesting to go back over it all. After
it really
all this time.
is. It's like Amanda Vita said the other day, it's like we're in 20, because we went through this a lot in 2020 because of quarantine, and it's just we met the community and we built our community based on a lot of questions that we want answers to with this case. And yeah, for some reason, I can't stop watching this story, Lisa said. And I feel like, with our Facebook group, it just grows more and more every day. And there is a reason why people just can't let go. And I really, like you said, going back from the beginning and going through it again has just been really interesting so far. And we've got day one of the body camera footage already done on CDT's channel. So, if you guys feel like you didn't get enough of the 2 hours, you can go over and watch day one. And we're in chat, and you can watch the chat also, because we just keep going on and finding new things that just stand out.
Yes. Yeah, there's so much to it. I really do feel like it's way deeper than only Chris. Chris was involved. Chris deserves to spend his life in prison. He did not protect his family. I do believe, he knows exactly what happened and was present for at least most of it. I don't know. I go back and forth, but I just feel like everyone says, is he ever going to tell the truth? Maybe he has. I mean, maybe David is telling the truth and Chris really did tell him that. It's like, so you believe Chris killed them all because he said it, but yet the timeline, the evidence to a lot of people doesn't quite add up. But then we have, someone who was in prison with him saying he said this, and a lot of people doubt it, which is fine. But I don't know. There's so much that Chris has said, so much missing evidence, so much NK has said. So
And
that's
there's
why
so much that the
I just
district
feel like I
attorney
always
has
care about this
said
case.
that then took back.
Yes.
So the district attorney said something about not thinking they'll ever get the truth out of him. Was that before the prison interview he said that?
Yeah, that was, I believe,
At
near
sentencing, maybe?
sentencing. Because,
Yeah,
yeah, around that time. Yeah.
right. So then why did they go and to talk to him in prison? It's like
Right. Yeah.
he didn't think that they would get the truth out of him, and no police officer or no law enforcement stood up then and said, wait a minute, maybe we should try. But then 2 months later, after the plea deal is all signed and stuff, they decide to go. Just makes no sense. I just don't know, guys. It's just a lot. I think that they're hiding from us, basically. Hey, Greg, it's good to see you. Yeah, we're doing well. We're wrapping it up. So I will coordinate a time when CDT can join me, and we will continue this as soon as possible, guys. I usually wait until 8 p.m. Eastern time to go live. It's just easiest with the little one and my schedule. So I guess just keep checking back, and I'll post it on my community page and in my Facebook group when we go live again. And yeah, anything you want to say or anything like that?
Just that I appreciate you doing this, and I'm looking forward to getting through this interview and then, seeing what else we bring back up and look back into. But thanks for having me.
Anytime. And yeah, you guys will talk soon. And thanks again. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye, guys.